Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something I think a lot of you are going to find really useful.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about realistic data preparation and data quality planning.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be looking at this 12-week plan from Ira Warren Whiteside.
Got it.
He's got this whole framework for implementing data governance and a data quality scorecard.
Right.
And I know 12 weeks sounds kind of crazy fast. Like, how can you possibly...
Yeah, that's ambitious.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Exactly.
So Whiteside, he calls himself an information Sherpa.
I love that.
I know, right? And he uses this really cool analogy about oil exploration to kind of illustrate his point.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm curious to hear about this.
Yeah, so tell me, have you ever thought about how, like, oil companies, when they're setting up a new rig, they don't, like, reinvent the wheel every single time, right?
No, they definitely don't.
They
It's
do.
all about proven methods and tried and true techniques.
Exactly. They rely on these established methodologies and tools.
Right.
So Whiteside's saying the same logic applies to data quality.
I see where he's going with this.
So walk me through this. How does oil exploration relate to, say, cleaning up my messy customer database?
Well, think of it this way. Just as oil companies use geological surveys and drilling techniques to find and extract oil,
Right.
we have proven methods and tools for data quality.
Makes sense.
So instead of starting from scratch every single time,
Yeah.
we can leverage these pre-built data models,
Hmm.
design techniques, even code samples sometimes.
So you're saying there's like a template out there for customer data to ensure consistency.
Exactly. You got it. And that's what Whiteside really advocates for, using what already exists to get the job done.
So instead of getting bogged down in all those endless vendor demos and proof of concept projects that can drag on forever,
Ugh, yeah, those are the worst.
you can actually just use what's already out there and get to work.
Exactly. Get right to it.
That's actually surprisingly efficient.
It really is.
So Whiteside breaks this whole process down into this really clear 12-week plan. And it's got 3 core phases: planning, execution, and then post-analysis.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
So let's break these down a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
So the planning phase, where do we even begin?
Well, it all starts with something called metric decomposition.
Okay.
It might sound kind of fancy,
It does sound a little intimidating.
but it's really just about collaboration.
Okay.
Getting everybody on the same page about what actually matters.
So it's not about the tech just yet.
Not yet. It's about figuring out those key metrics that really matter to the business.
Things like customer churn or sales conversion rates.
Exactly. Those are great examples.
Okay.
And then you basically dive a little deeper and you define the specific data elements that contribute to those metrics.
So you're creating a roadmap of what you're going to measure and why before you even touch the data itself.
You got it. It's like setting your destination before you start driving.
I like that analogy.
And by doing that, you're ensuring that all your data quality efforts are really laser focused on what truly impacts the business.
Makes sense. Okay. So we've got our plan in place.
Mm-mm.
What does the execution phase look like?
All right, so this is where that oil drilling analogy comes back into play.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Remember how oil companies rely on those tried and true extraction methods?
Yeah.
Well, in this phase, you're going to use those established data models and design techniques that we talked about
Right.
to actually implement your data quality rules and processes.
Gotcha.
So, for example, you might set up automated checks to flag duplicate customer records
Oh, that's a good one.
or make sure that addresses are properly formatted.
Okay, so you're putting those data quality plans into action.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about cleaning up the mess and making sure that data is reliable.
And how does this tie back to the oil analogy?
Well, just like those oil companies adapt their drilling techniques based on the rock formations they encounter.
Right.
This phase is also iterative.
Okay.
You constantly refine and adjust your approach as you go based on what you learn along the way.
So it's all about continuous improvement.
Yeah, exactly. You're always striving to make things better.
All right, so we've planned, we've executed, now we're on to the post-analysis phase.
Yes.
What's the goal here?
This phase is all about taking a step back and evaluating the results of all your hard work.
Okay.
You use these data quality scoring techniques to actually measure how effective your efforts have been.
Okay.
And you generate these reports that show progress, highlight areas for improvement.
So it's about proving the ROI of the project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ultimately demonstrating the value of this whole data quality initiative.
Okay, so it all ties back to those initial business goals we defined in the planning phase.
And it all comes full circle.
I like it.
Yeah.
Now, Whiteside also mentions these 3 technical phases. How do those fit into this framework?
Yeah. So these technical phases are really the nuts and bolts of actually implementing the plan.
Okay.
They involve a few key things. First, you've got to read all those legacy data files.
Right.
Then you're creating profiling statistics, kind of like analyzing the composition of the oil, if you will.
Okay, I see the analogy.
You're mapping errors and then finally loading all those results into what's called a data quality data mart.
A data quality data mart, what is that exactly?
It's like a central hub where all the insights about your data's health live.
Okay, so it's like a command center for your data,
You got it.
where you can see all the problem areas and track your progress over time.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. And the beauty of it is you can actually use this data quality data mart to inform a really realistic data governance roadmap.
So instead of basing your decisions on assumptions,
Yep.
you're actually using factual data.
Exactly. Data-driven decision-making at its finest.
So it's about starting small, getting those quick wins,
Mm-hmm.
and then building a sustainable data governance framework based on what you've actually learned.
Absolutely. Much more practical than those massive, drawn-out projects that never seem to end.
And speaking of practical, Whiteside is adamant that you don't need to invest in any fancy new tools or technologies.
Right.
You can accomplish all of this with what you already have.
I know it might sound too good to be true.
It does, using our existing tools.
Really?
Really?
He recommends using your existing data quality tools.
Okay,
Standard SQL, any relational database you've got space on,
gotcha.
and your regular reporting tools.
Hmm.
He even mentions that good old Excel could be used in a pinch.
That's incredible. It completely changes how I think about data projects.
That's all about being resourceful.
Yeah, we always assume we need the latest and greatest software,
Right.
but this approach is so much more grounded in reality.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Mm.
Whiteside is all about leveraging your existing resources
Yeah.
and taking a lean and tactical approach. He even suggests that staff augmentation might only be necessary to fill specific skill gaps.
Okay.
Like if you need someone with expertise in a particular data quality tool.
That makes sense. So this is all making a lot of sense to me.
Good.
But I am curious, are there any potential downsides to this approach? Like, what are some challenges organizations might run into?
That's a great question. And you're right to be thinking about those potential roadblocks. I'd say one challenge could be resistance to change.
Yeah.
You know, some people just get comfortable with the status quo,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
even if it's not ideal.
That's human nature, right?
It is. And they might be hesitant to adopt new processes or tools.
Change can be scary.
It can be.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that resistance?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, communication is key.
Okay.
You need to clearly explain the benefits of this 12-week plan
Right.
and how it will ultimately make everyone's lives easier.
So paint a compelling vision of the future.
Exactly. And show people how they're a part of it.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about bringing people along on the journey.
It's about the people.
Okay, that makes sense for the human side of things. But what about technical challenges?
Even though Whiteside emphasizes using existing tools, there might be some technical hurdles depending on the organization's data infrastructure. If the data is particularly complex or fragmented,
Okay.
it might take a bit more effort to get everything working smoothly.
So you're saying it's probably wise to do an upfront assessment of your current technical capabilities before diving in.
Absolutely. Always a good idea to take stock of what you have and identify any potential roadblocks.
And remember, this 12-week plan is all about building momentum and getting those quick wins.
Exactly. Start small and scale up from there.
But even with the right tools and a solid plan, you still need the right people to execute it.
That's a crucial point. Data governance and data quality require a blend of technical expertise and business acumen.
Okay.
You need people who understand both the data and the business processes it supports.
So it's like speaking both languages.
Exactly. The language of data and the language of business.
And those communication skills are just as important as the technical ones, right?
Absolutely. You need people who can collaborate effectively, explain complex concepts clearly, and build consensus across different teams.
So it's really a team effort.
It is. You need the right mix of skills and a shared commitment to improving data quality.
And don't forget about problem-solving skills.
Well, that's a good one.
Data governance is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
You're bound to encounter unexpected challenges along the way.
Absolutely. You need people who can think critically, troubleshoot issues, and find creative solutions.
Sounds like you're describing a data superhero team.
Uh-huh. Maybe we should start recruiting. But seriously, finding the right talent is essential for the success of any data governance initiative. And remember, as Whiteside mentioned, staff augmentation can be a valuable resource if you need to fill specific skill gaps.
This has been an incredibly insightful discussion so far.
And
We've covered a lot of ground,
yeah.
from the core principles of Whiteside's 12-week plan
Mhm.
to the potential benefits and challenges.
Yeah, we really dug deep.
So what are some of the most important takeaways you want our listener to remember?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that data governance and data quality don't have to be these overwhelming bureaucratic endeavors.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling that.
By taking a lean, tactical approach
Mm-hmm.
and leveraging those existing resources we talked about,
Right.
you can achieve significant results in a relatively short amount of time.
And we've really highlighted the importance of communication, collaboration, and having the right people on board.
Absolutely. Those are key ingredients for success.
This episode is really making me rethink how we approach data projects.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's all about shifting our mindset and realizing that we don't always need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We can learn from other industries like Whiteside's oil exploration analogy and apply those proven methodologies to the world of data.
That's the beauty of cross-industry learning.
Exactly. And by focusing on data-driven decision-making and continuous improvement, organizations can create a data governance framework that's both effective and sustainable.
I agree. That's the ultimate goal.
This has been such a valuable conversation.
Likewise.
I think we've equipped our listener with some really powerful ideas
I hope so.
and a clear path forward. Absolutely. It's all about taking action.
This has been an incredibly enlightening deep dive.
It has been a pleasure exploring this with you.
I feel like we've given our listener a whole new perspective on data governance and data quality.
I hope so. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Take those small steps. Build on your successes and never stop learning.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one final thought-provoking question you'd like to leave our listener with? Something to really chew on.
Here's one to ponder. If you could wave a magic wand and instantly improve one aspect of data quality in your organization, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. I encourage you listening to really think about that. What area of data quality is holding you back? And what amazing things could you accomplish if that problem vanished overnight?
Exactly. It's all about connecting those data quality improvements to tangible business outcomes.
Better decisions, increased efficiency, happier customers.
That's what this is all about.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like we've given our listener a whole new perspective on data governance and data quality.
I hope so. Remember, you don't need a magic wand to make progress. Just start small, focus on those quick wins, and never stop learning.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
So